Hey Nation, I'm Dustin Davis and welcome to Bears Express Report. The Chicago Bears find themselves at a crossroads. What began as optimism has shifted into uncertainty, and decisions made in the coming weeks may determine whether this season becomes a breakthrough or another chapter of unfulfilled promise. Questions about the quarterback position have resurfaced with intensity. National analysts are openly questioning whether the current direction can deliver the results fans expect, and the organization faces mounting pressure to address weaknesses that have persisted despite recent victories. The front office now operates in a window where action carries weight. Whether through internal adjustments or external additions, Chicago must confront realities that will shape not just this year, but the trajectory of the entire rebuild. Let's check all the details. But first, can I ask you a quick favor? If you're enjoying the content, just hit that like button. It helps us more than you think. Thank you so much. Chicago's defeat in Baltimore has reignited uncomfortable conversations about whether Caleb Williams represents a viable long-term solution at quarterback. The setback against a Ravens team operating without Lamar Jackson has prompted prominent media figures to openly question Williams' accuracy, processing speed, and compatibility with head coach Ben Johnson's system. These aren't casual criticisms. They're coming from influential analysts whose opinions reach millions, and the implications extend beyond this season into the franchise's broader planning. What follows is an examination of how the loss unfolded, what national voices are saying, and how the statistics are beginning to align with a narrative the Bears hoped to avoid. Chicago wasted an opportunity Sunday against a Baltimore squad missing its franchise quarterback, and the loss has brought Caleb Williams back under harsh scrutiny. Colin Cowherd and John Middlecoff deciphered Williams' performance on The Volume, and their assessment effectively predicted that Johnson and the Bears will eventually part ways with the former Heisman winner and top overall selection. Cowherd was direct in his evaluation. Caleb, in my opinion, is never going to be an consistently accurate thrower of the football in this league. Am I too harsh? Middlecoff's response was immediate. No, and if he's not going to work with Ben Johnson. The analysis didn't stop there. Middlecoff credited Chicago's defense and running back DeAndre Swift for the team's success, while arguing that Williams has not achieved even league average play at his position. Williams has not played well. Their team has. The running back has played well, and the defense has played well. The quarterback has not. How many times today with Caleb, guys in the flat, even on completions, they have to stop. There's no rhythm to his game. I think Caleb isn't remotely a good player. Physically, he's got a lot of gifts, but in terms of playing the quarterback position, I think he's borderline, not even average. That's a problem. Williams completed 25 of 38 attempts for 285 yards against Baltimore, but one throw defined the afternoon. Down 16-13 with just over 9 minutes left and backed up deep in their own territory, Williams targeted Rome Odunze on a route that Ravens defensive back Nate Wiggins read perfectly. Wiggins intercepted the pass and returned it to Chicago's 9-yard line. 2 plays later, Baltimore punched in a touchdown. Williams defended the decision afterward. It was a good read. Rome was man-to-man with the guy who caught the pick. I just didn't give a good ball to Rome. Johnson's post-game assessment hinted at disagreement. In my mind, there might have been another option that we could have gotten to. The interception didn't eliminate Chicago's chances. The Bears answered with a field goal on their next possession, cutting Baltimore's lead to 7 with just over 5 minutes remaining. But the defense couldn't generate the turnover needed to give Williams another opportunity. The Ravens added a late touchdown and sealed a 30-16 victory. Johnson arrived in Chicago during the offseason with a mandate to fix Williams and rejuvenate the offense. Instead, the Bears stand 4-3 through 7 contests, identical to their record at this point last season under Matt Eberflus, just before a 10-game losing streak began. The numbers tell an unflattering story. Williams' completion rate has dropped from 62.5% in 2024 to 61.9% this year. His interception rate has climbed as well. 4 picks through 7 games this season compared to 6 interceptions across 17 starts a year ago. If his decision-making and execution don't improve in the immediate future, the scrutiny will only intensify. Yet, even as doubts swirl around Williams, the front office is quietly eyeing ways to reinforce the roster before time runs out. One name has surfaced repeatedly in trade speculation as a target who could bolster Chicago's interior defense. Here's a closer look at the player in question, the rationale behind the reported interest, and why the match makes sense for a team trying to capitalize on its recent surge. If Chicago decides to be aggressive before the deadline, several intriguing targets could surface. One player connected to the Bears in recent reporting is New York Jets defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. Isaac Zuniga of Heavy floated the possibility of Chicago pursuing Williams, describing him as a dominant run defender who also generates pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Williams is a proven run stuffer who can also dominate as a pass rusher. The Bears have the draft capital and a culture trending in the right direction, and the financials are something that can always be worked out to ensure Williams would be happy. Plus, Chicago should already have leverage if the reports on Williams being unhappy in New York are true. Bringing Williams to Chicago would significantly upgrade the interior defensive line. He would control gaps, provide veteran leadership, and elevate a unit determined to dominate across the NFC. Through 7 appearances with the Jets this season, Williams has recorded 31 tackles, 1 sack, and 3 forced fumbles. Last year, he posted 37 tackles and 6 sacks. Standing 6'3" and weighing just over 300 pounds, Williams blends size with mobility and possesses the rare ability to shut down the run while collapsing the pocket. Exactly what the Bears are seeking. Whether Chicago will make a serious run at acquiring him and what compensation New York would require remains uncertain. Still, Williams' skill set aligns with what the Bears appear to need, making him a legitimate name to watch as the deadline draws closer.
Another name has emerged in league circles, one that could address Chicago's most glaring weakness on the edge. If the Bears do make a move, all signs point toward the edge rusher market. Chicago has struggled to generate consistent quarterback pressure, and a combination of injuries and underwhelming production from recent acquisitions makes defensive reinforcement the most probable focus. ESPN links Bears to Falcons' edge rusher. Landing a premier talent like Max Crosby would be ideal, but the more realistic outcome is adding rotational depth that can inject fresh energy. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN mentioned an unexpected name: Arnold Ebiketie, edge Atlanta Falcons. Ebiketie has attracted trade interest dating back to the offseason. The 2022 second-round pick is entering the final year of his contract, and Atlanta's future at edge rusher appears tied to rookies James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker. While the Falcons aren't actively shopping Ebiketie, they typically entertain offers when they come. At 6'2" and 250 pounds, he fits the mold of a 3-4 edge rusher who can contribute in sub-packages. He's a linear athlete with short area burst and the hand technique to manipulate blockers. Defenses could deploy him as a nickel rusher. He hasn't recorded a sack yet in 2025, but he tallied exactly 6 in both 2023 and 2024. Fowler assigned Ebiketie a 25% chance of being traded and listed Chicago as a team fit. Ebiketie delivered steady production for Atlanta over the past 2 years, accumulating 6 sacks and 12 quarterback hits in both 2023 and 2024. However, the Falcons' influx of high draft capital has reduced the 26-year-old opportunities. A change of scenery might benefit everyone involved. Ebiketie would bring something Chicago currently lacks: speed. The Bears already employ size and power with Dayo Odeyingbo and Montez Sweat, and Austin Booker's knee injury eliminated an expected source of explosiveness. Ebiketie's first-step quickness and suddenness off the edge can unsettle tackles and offer a contrasting element to Chicago's rush package. That burst would introduce valuable versatility to the front. The key question is how defensive coordinator Dennis Allen would use him. Allen historically favors larger, longer defensive linemen, typically players standing 6'5" or taller and weighing 270-plus pounds, unless the talent is an undeniable disruptor. Von Miller and Khalil Mack earned exceptions because their production justified adjusted usage. Ebiketie doesn't carry that same elite track record. Allen would probably need to deploy Ebiketie in specific packages, emphasizing pass rush situations where his quickness and hand skill can be maximized. That strategy can work, but it hinges on whether the Bears believe they can unlock Ebiketie's best form and convert it into reliable production in a new environment. Still, the Bears may have their sights set on a bigger prize, a former first-rounder whose ceiling remains tantalizing despite setbacks. Chicago's pass rush climbed in the league standings after recording 4 sacks against New Orleans in Week 7. Even with that strong showing, however, the Bears still rank 21st in sacks per game at 2.0. They sit 27th in quarterback hits per game at 4.3, and are a bottom 5 team in passing yards allowed per attempt, ranking 27th at 7.5 yards per attempt. Fresh talent would clearly help. That talent could arrive in the form of former New York Jets first-round pick Jermaine Johnson. In ESPN's recent ranking of the top 25 players who might be moved at the deadline, Johnson came in at number 10, with Chicago listed as a potential landing spot. But don't expect an easy acquisition. According to Jeremy Fowler, the Jets aren't eager to move the former Florida State standout. The Jets are not desperate to trade Johnson. Good edge rushers are hard to find, and his $13.4 million salary for 2026, a fifth-year option, is reasonable. But my sense after asking around is that the New York would be more willing to part with Johnson than Will McDonald if it made any move at the position. McDonald is in the third year of his rookie deal, whereas Johnson is in his fourth year, and Johnson has garnered a bit of interest thus far. Chicago could use every bit of pass rush help available. The Bears sack leader, Gervon Dexter, ranks tied for 52nd in the NFL with 2.5 sacks. Montez Sweat, Chicago's top edge talent, has just 2 sacks in 2025. Johnson has only 1 sack this season, but the potential that made him a first-round selection remains intact. An ankle injury forced Johnson to miss 15 games in 2024, and he had to sit for 3 earlier this season with an ankle issue. But when healthy, he has the strength and the lower body quickness to attack the pocket. Johnson had his best numbers in 2023, pre-Achilles injury, when he totaled 7.5 sacks and 16 pressures. Do you think Jermaine Johnson is worth the risk given his injury history? Would his combination of power and athleticism be enough to transform Chicago's pass rush? Or are the Bears better off looking elsewhere? If you were Ryan Poles, would you give up a day 2 pick for Johnson right now, especially with the team riding a winning streak? Let us know what move you'd make in the comments. Before you leave, drop a like and subscribe. Be part of our fan base and let's make Bears even stronger. Until the next video.